Hello guys, Jai Shri Ram. Today we are going to review the movie Razakar. Razakar movie has come in the theaters almost I think 8 days ago. Today must be the ninth day of this movie, and still I'm very surprised that many people don't even know the name of this movie. The reason is that entire Bollywood and the Bollywood cabal kind of reviewers on YouTube, they are completely boycotting this movie. They are blacking it out. You must have at least seen some review of Swatantraveer Savarkar movie. Of course, all the Bollywood people gave a bad review of the movie, but this movie, they are not even giving any review. They are completely blacking it out, and that's why the box office collection of this movie is not even reaching 1 crore rupees every day. It is usually zero point 0.3 crores, 0.48 crores, something like that. Till today must be the ninth day of the movie. Till today, the worldwide gross box office collection of this movie is almost 3 crore rupees. Just 3 crore rupees. And you must be aware that the movies of Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Amir Khan, they normally reach 500 crore rupees in India. So I want to bring this movie to you so that you at least know the topic about Razakar. Whether this movie becomes successful or not, probably that is not even my intention. But my intention is to make this topic reach you because this is a forgotten chapter in our history. None of the history textbooks talks about Razakars. Who were Razakars? So let me first tell you in 2 minutes. I'll tell you in brief what is the story all about. Razakars was a militia which was raised by the Nizam of Hyderabad. You must be aware that Hyderabad province was one of the three provinces that British left. Well, when British left, they did not secede into India. They did not get merged into India. And of course, this ruler was Muslim. He was Nizam, and there was a militia group that was created called as Razakars. They committed horrendous atrocities upon Hindus. None of our textbooks ever mentions about these horrendous atrocities like burning people alive, chopping their body parts, burning the penis of Hindu men with red hot iron sticks, polling people like the one that you see over here. They'll have one log of wood pointed at the top, and they'll make people sit on it so that it pierces through the anus, through the trunk, then it gets out of the neck, and the head is mounted on it. So this is how they did it, and this happened in modern times. These were not the dark ages of Europe. In the dark ages of Europe, church also did something similar, but uh, here these Razakars did this in today's current world. It was as horrendous as the medieval torture, and still it does not find any mention in our history books. So at least see the movie because you should know about the history, and everything mentioned in the movie is very well documented in the books written by people of those times. Many books are even written with the first person accounts of Muslim people. Pathan policeman, for example, he told that, see, Razakars and the Nizam's police raided a certain village, and these are the horrendous things that they did to the ladies over there. They chopped the body parts of the males, and then finally, whatever happened, that they killed the men, and they married the women to increase their numbers. So all these things are very well documented in books, and same is the basis of this movie. So nothing is made in the thin air. Had this movie been made in the thin air, had this been a propaganda film, I would not review it. If I am reviewing it, hold this guaranteed that I have researched over it, and I find this movie very much true, and that's why I am letting you know about this movie. Please watch this movie along with all your friends, relatives, family members. This is a must watch movie because the history books won't tell us about this chapter. So let's get started. First of all, I'll tell you about the movie and my rating. Okay, first things first. So this movie holds 8 out of 10 stars. It is still a must watch movie, although I have deducted 2 stars for the direction and the screenplay. But it is a must watch movie because it brings fantastic acting, historical correctness, casting, cinematography, and background music. Only 2 points are little weak in this movie. One is the direction, and another is the screenplay. Screenplay is very choppy, and there is a reason for that. Um in this movie, they tried to showcase all the freedom struggles against the Nizam. Nizam was, just the titular head who actually supported the British Empire. So basically, he collected the tax from poor Hindu majority, and some tax he kept, and some tax he passed on to the British Empire. It was the biggest princely state in the British Empire, and it was very very rich. They had Golconda mines, and he used to Golconda mines is a diamond mine. It was the only diamond mine in the world at that time. And quite famously, this Nizam used to use a diamond as a paperweight. So it was a very very rich princely state, and the British as well as Nizam, uh, they were both committing atrocities, but Nizam used to commit the atrocities on behalf of the British. So both of them were on the same side, and they were both against the poor Indians. Screenplay is choppy because a lot of freedom struggles happened. Of course, the freedom struggles were oriented against Nizam because Nizam was the direct point of contact. Beyond Nizam, there was British. So all the freedom struggles you will find against the Nizam. So all those freedom struggles are shown in this movie. Every little struggle is shown. But the problem is that every struggle has some screen time. It has dedicated actors, and after that struggle gets completed, then the next struggle starts. So there is no connection between those two struggle stories. So one freedom struggle, after that no character moves. There is no transition from one struggle to another struggle story. In the other struggle, the characters are entirely different, the plot is different, the place is different. The only thing that is common is the Razakars committing all these horrendous atrocities, and common men, those common men keep changing, common humans keep changing, and they keep fighting against the Razakars. So that's why the screenplay appears to be choppy. Now, a way to avoid this would have been, probably they could have made a fictitious character transfers across all these struggles, just like the Kashmir Files did. But then they could not. It would be difficult for them to then boast that this story is entirely a work of non-fiction. It is based on the facts. So if you put a fictitious character over there, then you cannot very then you have to mention that line that creative liberty has been taken and all. So probably that's the reason why they have this choppy kind of a screenplay. Nevertheless, it will tell you the entire history in terms of all these chapters. All the freedom struggles are very well mentioned. It is good for you to understand the history of India, because unfortunately the history books of India won't mention anything about Razakars. Now I'll take you through the history for the next, I think, 8 9 slides. If you don't like to know about history, then you can jump directly to slide number 10 or to this particular timestamp. So history is important because the only reason why I'm reviewing this movie is that this history hasn't reached us, and thank God, under Modi Sarkar, at least now people are having the courage to make this kind of movies. Otherwise, earlier, when Bombay or Rosa were launched during the Congress regime, uh, the filmmakers received a lot of backlash from the Muslim community. Mani Ratnam's house was bombed with petrol bomb, and even a few theaters were lit into fire. So all these backlashes are not seen in today's modern India, modified India, and it's great about Modi ji. But of course, there are still instances of Sardan Se Juda which Modi should keep under check. So that's why this movie is important, and it is important from historical standpoint, and that's why I need to mention about the history. The whole purpose is to tell you this history. Now, British policy of dividing Mother India into 564 parts. Now, what is this? The British were planning to leave India, means Akhanda Bharat, divided into India, Pakistan, and 562 princely states. And that's why 562 plus India plus Pakistan means 564 parts. Okay. This was the plan. Everyone knew it. Jinnah knew it. Nehru knew it. And the entire Congress knew it. Everybody knew about this. Um, then what did we think about it? So at that time, Mother India uh, had only 60% of the land area of current India. So these princely states covered 40% of the land that Mother India should have had. Okay, and that's why the uh, true freedom fighter, you can say, Mr. Sardar Patel, he, even before the independence of India, he spoke to all the princely states and said that, we might be getting independence in August 1947. So before that, please, let's have an understanding between us that as soon as India becomes free, you will secede into India, you will get merged into India. All the princely states agreed to this except three princely states. First was Kashmir, because the population there was Muslim and the ruler was Hindu. So there was a little confusion. He wanted to merge in India, but the population wanted to merge in Pakistan. Then there was Junagadh. Junagadh is the part of Gujarat near to current time Pakistan. And Nizam-e-Hyderabad, Junagadh, because again the public was Hindu, but the ruler there was Muslim. And Nizam-e-Hyderabad. So here also the population was Hindu, but the ruler was Muslim. And that's why these three provinces did not merge immediately into India. Okay, so even after independence of India, these three princely states remained independent. Now you might mention about Goa. You might say that Goa also got merged into India, or was annexed by India from the Portuguese. In 1960s. So you might say that, why did I not mention that? I did not mention it because Goa was never under control of the British. Okay, so it was always under Portuguese control. So when British left, they had no business with Goa. They said, okay, that's not even our land, why are you asking about Goa? Take care of Goa on your own. And that's why I haven't mentioned about Goa. Otherwise, yeah, there were four parts of Mother India which were not seceded into India before its independence. Now, Sardar Patel was willing to merge all these three princely states into India, but of course, Nehru was very, very, passionate about Muslims. He did not want any injustice upon Muslim. I really wonder why this was the case, but he was extra cozy with Muslims. He did not want to hurt any Muslim. Um, Now, is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's up to you to judge. I cannot comment on it, but that was a stark difference between Mr. Sardar Patel, who was actually working only in favor of India. He was the real Deshbhakt. And then there was Nehru. He was like, he wanted to be kind of a global statesman. He did not want to upset anybody, especially not the Muslim countries around us. And he was extra cozy with the Muslims. Nizam of Hyderabad wanted to stay as an independent Islamic state in the middle of India. So this is how Hyderabad was, and it was in the middle of the Indian peninsula, and definitely it did not have any port. Fortunately, it did not have any port. It used to import the things from India. So like, this is Bombay province. I mean, part of Maharashtra. It was previously Bombay province. So Bombay province, then the CP and Berar. There is Central province and Berar, the current time Madhya Pradesh, and current time Vidarbha area of Maharashtra. So from here, it used to import things from this current time Andhra Pradesh. Also, it used to import things, okay, from other countries or maybe from India also. So basic import and export of Hyderabad was with India. Okay, so there were railway lines running from India to Hyderabad to back to India. So all this used to happen. So trade was going on. Of course, India would always like Hyderabad to merge with us, but yeah, we kept the ports. I mean, we used the ports for the imports, and we used to give the goods to Hyderabad, thanks to Nehruji. So this is how the thing was. Nizam was always good, always in the good books of the British. So let me tell you the relationship between Nizam and the British. The state of Hyderabad was very rich. It was the largest state in the British India, and it had Golconda mines, which was the only provider of diamonds in the world at that time. Okay, Hyderabad lured the British by collecting more taxes from Hindus and giving its share to the British. So here, the Nizam was a radical Islamist. So Nizam always thought that, these kafirs are meant to be exploited. So you exploit them more and more, so that either they will convert to Islam, or you will get more tax. Either ways, it will be beneficial for the Nizam, and that Nizam would give part of this tax to the British also. So British also turned a blind eye. See, British was not as cruel as the radical Islamists of all the times are. British were a little sober comparatively. In fact, when the Britishers invaded certain Islamic parts of India, the common population over there found it as a relief. At least, they are not as cruel as the Islamics are, radical Islamics. So Nizam was also a radical Islamist. So he particularly, Nizam wanted to exploit Hindus so that they would either convert to Islam, or they would give more taxes so that the Nizam would become more and more powerful. Uh, Ramji Gond was one of our freedom fighters. If you don't know about it, it is for Congress to blame, because I don't think he gets enough mention in our history books. So Ramji Gond was a Gond chief who ruled the tribal areas of the present day Adilabad district of Telangana. Okay, other areas are also mentioned over here, like Nirmal, Utnur, Chennur, and Faizabad. He fought against the British rule. See, the thing is that anyone in the Nizam-e-Hyderabad would first have to fight Nizam and then with the British, because the immediate rulers were Nizam, and they were extremely brutal. And on top of that, it was British. British were also not very lenient; they were also brutal, as you know. But Nizam was way more brutal as compared to British. He fought against the British rule, for which he was caught and hanged by the Nizam. So notice that he was fighting against the British, but the British did not catch and hang him, or rather, I would say, British did not have to catch and hang him. That work was done for the British by Nizam. Okay, so now if someone says that, the then Islamics were also against the British, no, I don't think so. Actually, they colluded with the British. They were all after money. They were as invaders as the British were. I'm talking about the radical Islamists. I'm not talking about all the Muslims in general. So I'm saying radical Islamists. Okay, so that I don't receive any backlash from the government. So I have to mention the disclaimers sometimes. So he fought against the British rule, but he was caught and hanged by the Nizam. But not just him. Actually, he had 1,000 brave soldiers fighting alongside him. All of them were hanged on a banyan tree. 1,000 people were hanged by a same with from the same tree, and that's why this banyan tree started to be called as the tree with 1,000 skulls. So if you don't know about the tree with 1,000 skulls, then it is the Congress to blame that we don't find the mention of the tree with 1,000 skulls in our history books. We should be aware of this, that how cruel this Nizam was. But Congress probably did not want to upset a certain vote bank, and that's why Congress never included the atrocities committed on Hindus due to radical Islamists in India. Then, what is MIM? And MIM was always more powerful than Nizam. So, the last Nizam of Hyderabad was Mir Usman Ali Khan. So, towards the independence of India, this guy was the Nizam. And even after the independence of India, this guy was the Nizam for the next 1 year, almost 15 months, almost 400 days. Uh, After 400 days, of course, we took back Hyderabad with force. But until then, this guy was the Nizam-e-Hyderabad. Now, he was very much influenced by Qasim Rizvi. Now, who was Qasim Rizvi? Qasim Rizvi was not at the head. Okay, he was not the head of Hyderabad. He was not the Nizam, but he was the head of, or a leader of, a political party called as MIM. MIM stands for Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin. Majlis means council, Ittihadul means unity, and Muslimin means Muslims. So, Council for Muslim Unity means MIM. Okay, this is the same MIM party that Asaduddin Owaisi and his younger brother runs in present time, and it is called as All India MIM, that is AIMIM. It's the same party, you know. So this Qasim Rizvi was the leader of that party at that time. He proposed a standstill agreement with India. Okay, so basically, Qasim Rizvi said that, Nizamji, why do you want to get merged into India? You propose a standstill agreement for 1 year, and that time should be sufficient for us to build up our army, and then we will resist India. So at least for a year, make Indians stop from taking any military action against us, and during this time we'll build up our military. That's what they wanted. They always wanted to stay as an independent Islamic state in the heartland of India, in the heart of the Indian peninsula. Initial draft, which came from Hyderabad on 11th October 1947, was unacceptable to us. By us, I mean Indians. Means the Nehru Sarkar. Okay, so we revised it and we sent it back to Nizam-e-Hyderabad. Okay, so we sent the revised draft immediately after 11th of October. The Nizam agreed to our draft in principle, but he delayed signing it. Okay, so Nizam said, okay, your draft seems to be okay, I'll sign it. But then we kept on reminding the guy, and the guy was just not signing it. Then, maybe 16 days after this, MIM was a prominent political party in Nizam-e-Hyderabad. So on 27th of October 1947, MIM's leader, Qasim Rizvi, pressurized the Nizam to pull back from the standstill agreement. And this was also done in a very, you can say, in a movie like scene it was there, that the castle of this Nizame Hyderabad, that is Mir Usman Ali Khan, the castle was surrounded by military, or maybe the people who were surrounding, not military as such, but people who were from this Majlis-e Ittihadul Muslimin party. Okay, almost 1,000 people gathered there across the residence of around the residence of Usman Ali Khan. Okay, and he was forced to pull back from this standstill agreement. So after this, so it is also mentioned as a coup. Many historians, or many people who have written books, they have mentioned it as a coup only. Okay, so it was a coup. Although whether you want to say it, you want to call it a coup or not, it's up to you. But yeah, I would definitely say that it was a coup. So from that point onwards, Qasim Rizvi began to call the shots in Hyderabad administration. Nizam was only a titular head, and Qasim Rizvi was playing from behind. Okay, but the Nizam did not want to upset Qasim Rizvi, and also believe me that Nizam was also not a very good person. He was also a bad person. He was also a radical Islamist, but Qasim Rizvi was way more cruel as compared to Nizam, and Nizam obliged to Qasim Rizvi. So we cannot say that Nizam, we cannot wash off, Usman Ali Khan cannot wash off his hands saying that, okay, everything was done by Qasim Rizvi. No, you were sitting at the chair, you wanted it to happen. He only persuaded you into doing this, and you got persuaded. So you are hand in gloves with the crime. You are as cruel as Qasim Rizvi was. But yeah, we can say that probably the brain behind everything was Qasim Rizvi. The master planner was Qasim Rizvi. But yeah, Usman Ali Khan cannot be given the concession that of being very innocent. No, he was not innocent either. Okay. Now, why standstill agreement was bad for India? Normally, such an agreement would allow India to maintain defense, foreign affairs, and communication. But this standstill agreement was fully in favor of Nizam and fully against India. So they did not allow us defense, foreign affairs, and communication entirely. So I'll tell you in this slide only how they ditched us in a way. Nizam had allowed the British to station their troops in Hyderabad. So there was a part of Hyderabad called as Sikandarabad. So there, during the British Raj, this was a princely state, right? Hyderabad was a princely state. So still they allowed the British to station their troops in Sikandarabad. Okay, but now instead of British, there is India, right? So India is free. So in free India, this Hyderabad did not allow Indian troops to be there anywhere in Hyderabad. Okay, so that was wrong. If you would allow the British to station their troops, and why not Indians? So that was wrong. It did not allow the same to Indians. Behind India's back. So basically, this Qasim Rizvi and this, what is his name? Usman Ali Khan, they went behind the back of India, and they were breaching the standstill agreement in all these three senses. So, in the sense of defense, in the sense of foreign affairs, in the sense of communication, in all these three senses, they were actually breaching the standstill agreement, going behind our back. So, they were not saying this in open that, oh, we don't follow your standstill agreement, you follow it from your side, but we won't follow. They didn't say it in public, but behind our backs they were breaching the standstill agreement. So how did they breach it? They breached the defense, defense, what do we say, consideration that we had, by building semi-private paramilitary force called as Razakars, and that's what the movie is all about. So it was a paramilitary force means a force created from common citizens. Okay, that is called as a paramilitary. They are taught to have hand-to-hand combat, talwar kind of a combat, and also bullet kind of a combat. Okay, so they are trained in weapon handling, but most of them were trained in swords, and very few of them were trained on weapon hand, means bullet kind of gun handling. And that was a paramilitary. That means they were common citizens. They were not actual military, because they were not allowed to keep the military, because we wanted defense in our hand as per that contract. But they still created this paramilitary. Paramilitary is something that can be used as military if required. If push comes to shove, they can make them the military. Okay, so they will do 90% of the work, but last 10% is not done. Means they are just not given the uniform, they are not given the ranks of the military, but training is given to them. So at any time you can use them as militia. And it was semi private. Why semi private? Because at that time there was zamindari. Fortunately, again credit goes to Indira Gandhi ji, who abolished zamindari system in India. Okay, zamindari was the worst system that can be there. Zamindari means feudal lords. Even Europe had this, and then from Europe, but we also probably had it already, or probably we got it from the Europeans. I don't know how it came to India, but we had zamindari earlier. Even Pakistan, in Pakistan zamindari is still there, and look at the condition of that country now. So zamindari means a zamindar would be having a farm, okay, a huge farm. He will split those farms amongst certain laborers, and he'll ask the laborers to work in the farm. Laborers will work the entire year, the laborers will work, but when the crops are ready for harvest, as the zamindar will come there, he'll make a note of how much harvest is there, and he'll take all the harvest from the laborers, and he will pay peanuts, very very little amount, to the laborers. So this was kind of a slavery. And these zamindars also had very bad practices, like if some farmer has his own land, then they would purposely hook him into some loan, and the poor farmer didn't know much about the likha padi thing, all the paperwork, and their thumb stamps were taken at all the wrong places, and then that land was taken on his name. So this is what the zamindari system was. It was extremely bad service, it was extremely bad thing. And all these zamindars were the Muslim people. Muslims in Hyderabad were zamindars, or they were, that zamindars and above were all Muslims. Okay, and below zamindars the common population was there, and it was mostly Hindus. So these zamindars were basically exploiting or sucking the blood of poor Hindu population. And the zamindars were very cozy with the Nizam, because all that money they had to share that money with the Nizam as well. So this was a fully corrupt system of exploitation. And from Nizam's point of view, it was good, because the more poor our population, Hindu population is, the better it is for the Nizam to control it. If we became powerful, then the Nizam would have to listen to us, and that's why Nizam always wanted Hindu population to stay as poor as possible, so that they would never raise up to question the Nizam. So that is why these Razakars were semi-private. So these feudal lords, that is zamindars, they would also take the help of these razakars if any farmer would protest against them. So if a Hindu farmer would protest against them, then these zamindars would call these razakar people. They will unleash all kind of atrocities upon the poor Indian farmers, and then or kill them, rape them, convert them, do something about them. And this is how no one could raise against the zamindars, and no one could raise against the razakars. Foreign affairs also, it breached that understanding as well, because they secretly loaned 15 million pounds to Pakistan. Now Pakistan was the biggest adversary against India at that time, because we did not have a war with China at that time. So we believe the biggest adversary of India is only Pakistan. uh, Pakistan was not as rich as Hyderabad was, but Pakistan was militarily stronger than Hyderabad. So there was kind of a deal between them, that Hyderabad used to pass on money to Pakistan, and Pakistan used to pass on arms and ammunitions to India. Sorry, to Hyderabad. Okay, and this is how both the Islamic countries supported each other against India. So that was again a breach of our standstill agreement with respect to foreign affairs. Another thing was that it was trying to buy, the Hyderabad, the Nizam was trying to buy Goa from the Portuguese. So this would allow Hyderabad to use this port city for their own export. Now, India was anyways allowing it to export their goods. Okay, but they still wanted some port on their name only. I don't know why they needed it, because India was anyways allowing you to do that using the Bombay port or any other port. India was allowing you to import and export to and from Hyderabad, but still Hyderabad wanted a port on their name. So what was the malicious intent? We don't know. And then communication was also breached by interfering the traffic at the borders and through traffic of Indian railways. So they knew that the railway is coming from India, right? So they kept monitoring that traffic, and whatever traffic came through the roads from India to Hyderabad, they kept on monitoring it. So again, this communications was not your business. Why did you put your nose into that? So that was our objection. So we were against the standstill agreement, or the implementation of the standstill agreement, due to all these reasons. We thought that behind our back, Hyderabad is not respecting the standstill agreement, and they are breaching the standstill agreement. Now, atrocities that Razakars conducted: treating Hindus as the second class citizens to promote conversion to Islam. It started with spitting in Pandit's Kalash, urinating in the well from which Hindus drank water, destroying temples and building mosques on top of them. See, this was also bad. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying that this was still mild as compared to what they did in the future. But it soon reached to collecting jizya, that is tax from kafirs. What is jizya? Jizya means, if you are a kafir, that means if you are a non-Muslim, then just because you are born as a non-Muslim, you should be giving some tax to Nizam-e-Hyderabad, because this is an Islamic state, and just because you are born a non-Muslim, you need to give some tax. Now these kafirs, that is non-believers in Islam, by the way, means Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, Parsis, Buddhists, Jews, Christians, all of them, means anyone but Muslims, they are all called kafirs in Islam. So kafirs were forced to give this jizya tax. Now jizya tax came in all shapes and colors. So whenever anything happened to you, anything new happened to you, they would impose some tax. Like suppose a baby was born at your home, oh, there's a baby tax. Oh, if a male baby was born, there's a separate tax. If a female baby is born, there's a separate tax. Oh, your baby died, means people themselves used to kill their babies, so that they don't have to give the tax. And of course, anyways, the babies, if it is a female baby, then she would get raped over the time. They would rape a girl as soon as she reaches adolescence, and they would break the virginity of the girl, and then they would allow her to get married, then again rape her multiple times. So this was the trend of that time, because it was an Islamic state, and because these people were kafir, our people were kafirs in their eyes. So Many people in this movie also, it was shown that a girl child was born. The grandmother of the child gives poison to that girl so that she dies. Her mother also understands the situation, but she keeps crying for the baby. And even after the death of the baby, when these Muslim rulers come, at that time they say that, oh, the baby was born, there should be tax for that, and the baby was killed, so you would do the janaza of that baby, right? For that also you should give us the tax. So this was called jazia. The jazia came in so many shapes and colors. Whatever happened with you, you marry, give a tax. You conceive a baby, give a tax. Somebody dies in your family, gives a tax. So by hook or crook, you just have to keep on giving taxes to the Muslim rulers, so that either one day you will get fed up and you will get converted to Muslim Islam, or otherwise, if you are kafir, then you will keep on giving this tax, making the regime more and more powerful. Another thing was that they forced Urdu instead of regional languages like Telugu, Marathi, and Kannada. So I have given a pie chart over here. At the time, the maximum usage was of Telugu language. So 48.2% means almost 50% of the population used to speak Telugu. Uh, Marathi was almost 25%, 26.4. Kannada was 12.3%, and Urdu was only 10.3%. So from this, you would understand that the Muslim population was relatively less, but they were at the top. Nizam, all the people working under him, uh, and these zamindars, they were all Muslims. But all the laborers, farmers, all the people who formed the masses, maximum population, that was basically Hindus. So they said that, why are you teaching Urdu? You should be teaching these three languages. There is a scene in this movie that Razakars come to a school. In the school, many children are studying, maybe close to 30 children must be studying there, or 20 children must be studying there. And the person is teaching in Marathi. Okay, the teacher is teaching in Marathi. As soon as the Razakars come, of course, there is a trend shown in this movie that whenever Razakars would come, you would get down your cap. If you're wearing a patka, then you would pull it out, pull it down, hold it like this, so that so as to show submission towards the Razakars. You would not look them in the eye. This is shown throughout the movie. Everywhere people used to do this. This is a form of slavery, by the way. uh, and then that Razakar would immediately, without even speaking, he would slit the head of one of the students, a child's head was, he was beheaded. The blood is splashed on the blackboard. Okay, now he took the finger of that teacher, drenched it into this blood of that child, fresh blood of the child, from the blackboard, and on the blackboard he wrote something in Urdu. And then after writing it, he breaks the finger of the teacher and warns the teacher that, you should be teaching in Urdu, you should not be teaching in all the regional languages. At that time, the language shown was Marathi. So same must be done with Telugu and Kannada as well. So this is the amount of atrocity. And they did not just stop with that. They said, you have learned, those children had learned regional language, and they dared to learn a language other than Urdu. So all those children were massacred. All these Razakars were finding these children. Some children fell into a pit. They put stones on top of, big stones on top of that child, so as to crush the child. Some children were just beaten up and killed. Some people were some children were chopped off, slaughtered. Some children managed to climb up a banyan tree. They were shaken, they fell down, they were killed. This is how horrendous Razakars were. And I wonder why Razakars don't find a mention in our history books. So thanks to Congress, please be very careful while voting in this Lok Sabha elections. This is, if Congress comes to power, this is how things are. And we should also put pressure on Modi Sarkar, because Modi has been in power for 10 years. Till now, why did this Razakars chapter not come in our history? It was horrendous, atrocities. 40,000 Hindus died into this. And this does not find any mention in our history book. It should be mentioned. Okay, so that is how it was. A few people resisted. They were killed brutally to set an example. They were publicly killed to instill fear of Razakars in the population. Some villages fought together. The entire villages were destroyed. So few villages also they came together. They said that okay, we'll fight together. Okay, unity is strength, so we'll fight together. So maybe once or twice the Razakars were defeated also, but then the Razakars came in more and more number, and of course the Nizam's police was also in favor of Razakars. So sometimes the Razakars used to loot the village, and in the morning the police used to come and file something for the namesake. And later on it happened that while looting, the Razakars used to rape the women and all, right? So police also wanted to do exactly the same thing, Nizam's police. So police also were part of this looting, raping. They also wanted to loot the population. They also wanted all the riches. They also wanted everything. So it was a combination of Razakars and Nizam's police, who used to loot the common population, rape them, slaughter them. So entire villages were destroyed. So earlier they used to kill everybody in the village, everybody, child, old people, women, children, everybody, men also, of course. But then later they improvised. They said that, see, what makes more sense? We need to increase our population of Urdu speaking Muslims, right? So we have to increase our populations. How will you do that? So we will only slaughter the men, and we will convert these women to Islam, and we will marry them, and we will breed, and we'll increase our number. There is a dialogue in this movie in which the Razakar says that इन लड़कियों के साथ ऐश करो और अपनी तादाद बढ़ाओ. I would give congratulations to this movie that you could put this dialogue in the movie. Thanks to the movie coming from South India. Had this been a Bollywood movie, I wonder whether this dialogue would have come into that movie. But this dialogue was very clearly given, and that this is what their intentions were. And it is very well documented in the history books also. Not in history books, but in the books that people wrote at that time, it is very well documented. So whatever the movie is saying is absolutely correct, and this should have been part of the movie, and I appreciate that this is definitely part of this movie. Press censorship. So now people who say that in Modi's India there is no press freedom, now look at the press censorship in an Islamic state, a radical Islamist state. So here, Razakars were given instructions that if someone speaks against the Nizam-e-Hyderabad or against the way Razakars function, then those journalists, first you chop their hands. If the journalist still speaks, he dares speak again, they chop his head. And most of the journalists at that time were Muslims, so they were killing moderate Muslims also. So that's why I said I'm not making this video against Muslims. I'm making it against the radical Islam. I'm making it against the radical Muslims. So they slaughtered the moderate Muslims also. This journalist, there was a scene in this movie where this journalist was a Muslim. He was also slaughtered. First his hand is cut. He still speaks. He dares to speak. He dares to speak against the Razakars. Slaughter the head, chop the head off. That is the kind of medieval punishment that Nizam-e-Hyderabad used to deliver through Razakars. Atrocities by Razakars. Now, see, the brutality kept on increasing with every passing day. There were countless atrocities. You go to the last slide, there I have mentioned 3 links for further reading about the atrocities committed by Razakars, but I have mentioned a few of them just to give you an idea. Cutting body parts was very common. Live burning people was very common. Hanging men alive on pointed wooden poles, which would pierce their bodies from the anus till the chest and come out through the neck to hang their heads. So, as I told you in the introduction itself, polling people, that means, installing people on the poles. So, there was a pointed pole, this big pole, okay, big one. I mean, it must be as big as your biceps are, that big. And these men were, actually fixed on top of that pole. So when they were put on this pole, it used to pierce through their anus, through their trunk, it used to get through the chest, and then it used to come out from the neck, and then it used to hang the head like this. It was shown in this movie, by the way, and that's why this movie has adult certificate also. So this kind of horrendous crimes were committed, and this was done so many times. It's not just one of instance. It was done many many times, and that man was allowed to rot on that pole, so that it would instill fear in the population about the Razakars and the Nizam. Burning pandits and other people alive, hammering stones in the ears of your saukars who listen to the plight of the people. Now, all the saukars or zamindars were not Muslim, right? A few of them could be Hindus also. So they did not like so much atrocity being conducted on the Hindu population. So they raised their voice. They dared to raise their voice, and that was enough for Nizam and Razakars to slaughter these people. And they did not slaughter them in private. They committed slaughter in public. He raised voice for a certain village, right? He would be brought to that village. He would first be given lashes. चाबुक मारते थे उनको, ठीक है. After that, when the person is almost near dead, then he listened to the public, right? He listened. He did something wrong with his ears. So stones were put on his ear, and they were chiseled into his ear, so that no voice ever reaches his ears after that. This is the kind of medieval punishment that radical Islamists did. But our history books never mention about the punishments, the medieval kind of punishments that these radical Islamists have conducted upon common Indians. I don't know why is it wrong for us to know this. If wrong things have happened with us, then at least we should know about it. But our history books don't even mention the word Razakars. That's the main problem. Of course, that man would die due to all that hammering, and the skull would rupture, right? There will be a brain injury. The man would die on the spot. But look at the kind of medievalness that these radical Islamists had. Burning the penis of Hindus with red hot iron rods. This was also shown in the movie. So this hammering the stones was also shown. Red hot iron rods on the penis to burn it. That was also shown in this movie. Raping daughter in front of father. There was a scene in this movie when a daughter was raped in front of her father. The father would at least close his eyes, right? You should give that much liberty to the father. At least he would close the eyes. He tried to close the eyes. Then that Razakar would, slit his eyelid, so that he had to see that. You cannot close your eyes also. You have to see that. You have to see that. See your daughter getting raped. That is the amount of brutality that radical Islamists performed upon the Hindu population of India. And all this does not find a mention in our history books. Even after 10 years of having a so-called Hindu-Wadi government, we still don't have this in our history books. And forget about Congress. Congress was always in favor of Muslims. So we do not have this luxury to ask to Congress that, you should mention this in the history books. At least Modi should do that, right? At least in the third term, he should do that. What is stopping you? At least mention the word Razakar, yeah? At least mention the word in the history books. People should at least know about it. We are coming to know about Razakars after seeing the movie. After seeing the movie, I made the research. Then I came to know a lot about Razakars, and I said, "Oh my God, this movie is 100% truth. This is exactly what has happened." And we don't even know about who Razakars were, how brutal this Nizam-e-Hyderabad was. Razakars looted several villages, and Nizam's police also supported them. Sometimes they looted it together. I've already told you this. Hindu women were forced to dance naked in front of Razakars and Nizam's police during a Hindu festival. This is also shown in the movie. So, see, I think they must be Adivasi women. In Adivasis, there's a very nice culture that they are very intertwined with the nature. They basically respect the nature and worship the nature in general, right? So this Adivasi or Hindu people, they had this ritual that they would form a pyramid of flowers, and that would be an embodiment of a deity, a devi, a devi ji. Okay, so there was some devi that they were, worshipping, and they used to embody this devi in the form of a pyramid of flowers, and they used to dance around that pyramid of flowers. Now these Razakars came. Razakars, see, radical Islamists are always against music, against dancing, because they feel these are kafirana harkate. Radical Islamists even today would stop you from celebrating Holi, because they feel, okay, any kind of celebration is kafirana harkat for them. So the objection is that, it might be kafirana in your religion, but let other people celebrate it. Now we do not follow Islam, so let us celebrate it, now at least. But when the state is Islamic state, then all these things become, they get a reason to, object to all these things. So they came over there. They slaughtered a few men, means the husbands of those women who were dancing, and they would be thrown, their bodies were thrown on that deity, on that flower, on that pyramid of flowers. And then these ladies were asked to dance naked. They were stripped naked. They were asked to dance around these dead bodies and around that Deviji. And this was not just done by Razakars, this was also done by the Nizam's police. So both of them, Razakar as well as Nizam's police, made this happen. So this is the kind of law and order that they, and I don't think this was even a disruption of law and order. This is how they wanted the law and order to be. This is what the state of the Islamic State of Nizam-e-Hyderabad wanted to happen, with the Hindus of that region. So this is a state sponsored thing. This is what the state actually wanted. This is the kind of law and order that they wanted. Obviously, a lot of Hindus were killed during all this. 40,000 Hindus died, and I think this is a very conservative estimate. Many more Hindus must have died. Those who tried to flee after chase were dragged back and brutally killed. They looted the local shops and killed kafirs after Friday namaz. See, a thing very common about radical Islamists is that whenever they congregate for Friday namaz, there is somebody who will radicalize them furthermore. There will be some sermon given by some Maulana who will radicalize the population furthermore. And when this population gets out of that mosque after getting radicalized, then they do something. Okay, now there must be some shops of kafirs like Hindus. They would loot those shops. Normally, when you radicalize a population and they get out of a masjid, what else will that population do? It will loot, it will rape, it will do all sort of atrocities on the so-called kafirs. And that is what happened in Nizam-e-Hyderabad as well. They killed many Arya Samaj people, Pandits, and stubborn Hindus who refused to convert to Islam or who tried to build a resistance against Razakars. Now, I will come to both these category of people, Arya Samaj people and Pandit category of people. Arya Samaj and many such other Hindu organizations, they worked phenomenally to build the confidence of the common public. So these Razakars would normally commit atrocities on a population, on a village, and they would ask them to convert to Islam. Those who got converted due to this fear, okay, they were Islamic, they were allowed to stay, and all others were chopped off. Okay, and if you're a lady, then the life would be even worse than that. You would die every single day because you were raped until you convert to Islam, and then after converting into Islam also some Muslim person would marry you, and then again the same cycle continues. You would be a breeding machine. You will keep on. That is how the radical Islamists did in Nizam-e-Hyderabad. Now, Arya Samaj people did the ghar wapsi of a lot of Hindus who got converted into Islam. They called this as Shuddhikaran. Today, we would probably call it as ghar wapsi. But the concept was the same, that those who got converted to Islam should return back to their home religion. Okay. And then I'll explain about the other category of people, which is Pandits. Now, see, in a village setup, Pandit, there used to be one village, not one temple. Mostly in every village, there is one prominent temple. So in that temple, there would be some Panditji. All your marriage, all your birth, death, all these kind of ceremonies would be done by that Panditji, right? So that Panditji knew each one of the people living there, and people also knew this Panditji. So he was a center point. He was a focal point of the Hinduism in that village. Now imagine if that Pandit only got converted to Islam. If that Pandit only was, uh, he was made afraid of all these Razakars, and he was forced to convert to Islam. Automatically, everyone else, means people will get affected due to this, right? People know this guy, and this guy was kind of the symbol of Hinduism, and now he is also converted to Islam. So their courage will break down, right? That's why Pandits were mostly targeted. Atrocities were conducted upon them, and some of them were converted. Some of them died, and they did not change their religion, so they were killed in a horrific way. Then sometimes this Pandit would once again be converted to Hinduism, because he must get in touch with, he must be getting in touch with Arya Samaj or some other Hindu organization. If he dared to do that, then this Pandit would be burnt alive. And this was also shown in this movie. All these things are shown in this movie. Now, India finally attacked Nizam-e-Hyderabad. So, maybe the last 45 minutes of this movie is a little relief when the Indian army launches Operation Polo against Nizam-e-Hyderabad. Sardar Patel ji and VP Menon ji wanted India to intervene to stop the violence from Razakars. Okay, so Sardar Patel ji was the then Home Minister. VP Menon ji was the then Secretary to the Government of India. So whenever any princely state had to be merged into India, it was Sardar Patel giving the instructions from behind, and VP Menon meeting that princely state head. Okay, and this is how normally secessions into India happen. So both of them worked in tandem. Both of them were like do dil ek jaan, that kind of people they were, and they were absolute patriots. And that's the reason why Mother India could be united. But then there was a person called Nehru. Nehru was unfortunately the first Prime Minister of India. He was very cozy with the Muslims. So whenever we tried to, accede or maybe merge a Muslim princely state, or the state has majority Hindu, but the head of the state is Muslim, then Nehru would come in the way. Okay, Nehru would, threaten in a way that, what will the United Nations say? Hey, Sardar Patel ji, what are you doing? It will raise eyebrows of the UN people. Don't you know how UN is? America, what will it do? So in Nizam-e-Hyderabad case also, Sardar Patel ji and VP Menon ji said this multiple times to Nehru that, we have to do something. We have to take some military action against Nizam-e-Hyderabad. So this Nehru used to say that, oh, we have signed this a standstill agreement with them. Although this standstill agreement was being followed only by India, Nizam-e-Hyderabad was, rampantly not following it, rampantly breaking it. But still, Nehru used to say, oh, we have followed this. What will the United Nations say? We sign an agreement and we do not live up to the agreement. That is what Nehru was. And it is very well shown in this movie also. Very good. Then, on 7th of September 1947, India gave ultimatum to Nizam demanding ban on the Razakars. So we gave an ultimatum to Nizam-e-Hyderabad that, stop this Razakar thing and return the Indian troops to Sikandarabad. So just like you had British troops stationed in Sikandarabad during the British era, you should also allow Indian troops to be stationed in Sikandarabad. We gave an ultimatum that do this, otherwise you will be responsible for whatever follows. That's what we say. We do not say what we will do, but we say that, be careful. We want this to happen. Consider this as an ultimatum. During that time, I think Nehru was busy somewhere. Nehru was in London or something, and Nehru had given a very clear instructions to Sardar Patel ji that, please ऐसा कुछ ना करे जिससे situation खराब हो जाए. Don't do something that will worsen the situation. But Sardar Patel ji, being a patriot, he did what was necessary for the mother India. And that's what we will see after this. He gradually kept on pulling the Indian troops from Kashmir gradually to Delhi, and then near Hyderabad they were stationed. Okay, but he did it very carefully so that Pakistan would not realize that, oh, the military deployment of India is changing. Okay, but he gradually did it very subtly, very simple, very in a small way. Okay, so that the Pakistanis didn't realize. So when this ultimatum was given, Pakistan Foreign Minister Mohammad Zarar, or whatever it is, Khan, so Muhammad Khan warned India against this ultimatum. He said that, oh, be careful. How dare you threaten our Biradar Musalman Mulk, means our brother Muslim country? How would you dare do that, you bloody kafir? Means, of course, he must not have used the word bloody kafir, but it was very much intended. Fortunately for us, Jinnah died. Yeah, this was a very good thing that has happened to India during that time, that Jinnah died on 11th of September. So, see, we gave an ultimatum on 7th of September. Just after 4 days, this Jinnah guy died. Very good. It was a good idea. This guy led to the division of Mother India. Finally, he met the consequences, it died. After Jinnah died, we had an opportunity. Now, Pakistan was busy in mourning. It was in the mourning period. Okay, it was taking care of its own business. Oh, Jinnah died. Qaede Azam Jinnah ji died. This is what Pakistanis say. So during that time, we took the opportunity, and 2 days later, India launched Operation Polo, and we annexed Hyderabad within 5 days. 5 days were enough for us to annex entire Hyderabad. We call this as the police action. A police action is a military action undertaken without a formal declaration of war. So it was not the police actually who were fighting, it was the military of India, the army of India which was fighting. But we made it look like a police action. Means we dubbed it, we gave it the name as the police action. Okay, police action does not mean that the police will go and fight. It's your military only, it's a military action only, but it is undertaken without formally declaring the war. So we did not formally declare a war against Nizam-e-Hyderabad, but we did a police action. I'll also tell you something about this, that why is it called as Operation Polo? Operation Polo because there were so many polo grounds in Hyderabad. So Hyderabadi Nizam was very, what can you say, uh, Ayash kind of. So, he would use a diamond as a paperweight. He would have so many polo grounds. At a time, Hyderabad had the most amount of polo grounds. Even the European countries do not have as many polo grounds as Hyderabad alone had. So this is how Ayash this guy was, and all this on top of, from the money collected through the diamonds from the Golconda mine, where the laborers were all Hindus, and from the jizya tax that he collected from all the Hindu people. So all this was our blood and sweat money that was being spent for his Ayashi in building this kind of polo grounds, and that's why this operation was also dubbed as Operation Polo. How much of this history does the movie show? So Ramji Gond and the tree with thousand skulls was shown in this movie. Title of the movie has the story of rise of Nizam, Mir Usman Ali Khan, and Qasim Rizvi. So it tells how these people rose to power. End credit shows all the freedom fighters uh, who fought against the Nizam or subsequently against the British, and who were crushed by the Nizam. So all those freedom fighters, all those Sanatani people, the Arya Samaji people, other Hindu organizations also, all those people who were slaughtered by Razakars were shown, their faces were shown. And in a way, uh, I felt like these faces should have been mentioned in our history books. I didn't even know these faces. I did not even hear about their names. And in a way, I was feeling ashamed that I didn't know about my freedom fighters, before I saw this movie. Movie is not a place where you come to know about your history. Yeah. This. I mean, you should be knowing about your history through your books, through your academics. I don't know it, and I'm fairly well educated, by the way. So look at the lack of penetration in our population. That our population is not even given to know who were our real freedom fighters. We were only given to know that, oh, there was Gandhi, there was Nehru. That is all. Bina khadak, bina dhal, azadi mil gayi apne aap. How is it even possible? There were so many freedom fighters, and the freedom fighters were not just fighting with the British, but also this kind of Islamic states, radical Islamic states like Nizam-e-Hyderabad. Radical Islamists, they find no mention at all in our history books. Why? Were they not part of our history? They were part of it. Did they not commit atrocities on Indians? They did commit. And still, we don't mention about radical Islam in our history textbooks. I really don't understand why. All the freedom struggles got enough space, enough screen time, but it would have been better if the movie had a central character, and although that character could have been fictitious, and then that central character would transfers from one freedom struggle story to another freedom struggle story to another freedom struggle story. So this is how they could have made it, so it would be very much similar to the Kashmir Files. In Kashmir Files also, there was a fictitious character who went through all these struggle stories, and it binds the audience better if one character keeps, I mean, if it is the story of one character, then it normally binds the people together. So in Kashmir Files, the character was this guy Anupam Kher, right? So similarly here also they could have taken some veteran actor who would pass on his experiences through all these freedom struggles, but they didn't do it. Probably they didn't do it because they wanted to give enough weightage to every freedom struggle, and they probably did not want this badge of being a fictitious story. So they did not want to mention that, so we have taken creative liberty. They wanted to show everything fact based, and that's why they showed everything, all the freedom struggles, as chapters of history. Okay, so many a times the screenplay seems to be choppy, but it was the need of the hour, you can say. They wanted to stay genuine, and that's why probably they wanted to keep it this way. Hindus were not just shown as beaten up, but the story of brave Hindus was also shown. Pardon my mistake here. I'll correct the spelling mistake there. Uh, who gave a resistance as is very well shown. Okay, so many brave Hindus were also shown. Like one Saukar rises up to the Muslim zamindar and protects a village. So that was also shown. Then a lady was also shown who did not give her crops to the zamindar. Then another lady was shown whose daughter was getting raped by the Razakars. So she pulled up a plow यानी हल उठा लिया उसने, और that lady was shown to be a strong lady, right? An Indian lady, and she chops off the head of that Razakar who was raping her daughter with that plow itself. And then she, some Razakar again comes to attack her. So she turns that plow around, and she pushes it through his stomach, and through his torso, and raises it like this, just to say that no one touches my daughter. And of course these Razakars, these भेकड़ लोग, यानी क्या कहेंगे इसे, भेकड़ यानी cowardly people, they did not dare to have a hand to hand combat with this person, this lady. They shot her down. But that also, this actually this finds a scene on the one of the what do you call, posters of the movie also, where she is actually holding up the plow, and on top of the plow there is a man, the Razakar is hanging. So brave Hindus were also shown in this movie, and that is really good, because any population should be shown what all we did. We are brave people. We just need to recognize what has happened with us and ensure that this does not happen again. Okay, we are already brave people, so also show people winning. We won so many wars, and that does not find any mention in our history books or in our movie stories. We do not see Hindu kings fighting and winning against the invaders. Why is that? So this, in this story at least, Hindus were also shown to be winning. And of course, the support of common masses for the Indian army during Operation Polo was also very well shown. So people showering flowers on our Indian army, all these scenes were very well shown. Cruelty of Razakars and their Islamic agenda were very clearly shown. It was very brave in a country like India where Sat and Sejuda is so rampant. See, what Nupur Sharma also said was not wrong, right? She only quoted hadith. But even due to that, she got death threats from Sultan Se Juda kind of people. Her effigy was hanged on a square. Okay, there was a crossroad on which her effigy was hanged. She had to stay underground for so long. And people who merely supported this lady, they didn't even say anything. Their heads were also chopped. Their sar was also made juda from their tongue by Sultan Se Juda gang. So all this happened. So in this kind of a country where Sultan Se Juda is so rampant, at least these filmmakers showed the Islamic agenda as it is without sugarcoating it. And that's why congratulations to this movie. This movie has done a great job. And in spite of this, people don't go and visit this movie. People don't, because people don't know about this movie. Now, after hearing all this, definitely you will go and visit this movie, watch this movie, right? But people just don't know about this movie yet. People don't know who Razakars were, what Nizam-e-Hyderabad was. So that's why this I had to show you all this history, and I urge you to see this movie. So this is the most important slide, guys. That will this movie change anything? So first of all, let me tell you that the box office collection is very very low. Every day the movie is not even making 1 crore rupees. I'll show you the answer that I got from AI over here. So this is an AI search, by the way. So box office collection of Razakar till today, I said. So day one collection was 0.38 crore rupees. Day two collection was 0.48 crore rupees, 4923. This is how the collection is going. Here also you see that every day the collection is not even 1 crore rupees. So I don't think this movie is going anywhere because it's not reaching the masses itself. What's the reason? Reason is lack of publicity. Most of my friends didn't even know the name of this movie. Okay, and when I visited the movie, I saw only 10 people in the theater. Okay, so this shows how much people don't even know about this movie. Then only one major YouTuber has reviewed this movie so far, and that is Pratik Boradeji. So thanks a lot, Pratik ji. Had you not been there, I would never come to know about this movie. I would never have researched about Razakars, and I would never come to know about Indians' history that I have just said in all these slides. So I think thanks to Pratik Boradeji for reviewing every movie, and he gives a very correct review. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it is okay, but subscribe to Pratik Borade's channel. Bollywood film reviewer KRK. I have mentioned about KRK during my review of Swatantraveer Savarkar movie. Also, I said that this guy gave a bad review for Swatantraveer Savarkar movie. And this guy, KRK, has not even reviewed Razakar so far. So he doesn't even want to give 1% publicity to this movie. Uh, that's what I think about him. I may be wrong. You let me know in the comment section what you think about why KRK has not reviewed this movie till now. And what could be his intentions? Why would anyone stop publicity to such a nationalist movie which tells about real India? What is the intention of KRK? Let me know in the comment section. Besides, in all our senses, India's Hyderabad state still has MIM party. It is now called as All India MIM. So All India Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin. It is the same party that the Owaisi brothers run. So you must have seen that Asaduddin Owaisi is a lawyer. Uh, Quite fascinatingly, quite strikingly, I can say, this Qasim Rizvi was also a lawyer. And this Asaduddin Owaisi's younger brother, He once said that if Hindus think they are so strong, let the police be withdrawn for 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, we will show you how powerful we are and how powerful you are. So, can't we say that AIMIM derives much of its, direction from the old MIM party that Qasim Rizvi used to run? How can any self respecting country allow such a party to exist? It is like even after Germany was freed from Nazism, even after that, the Hitler's party was allowed to function with the same name, with the same ideology. How bad would that be? But in India, apparently anything is possible. So in India, we still have that party called as AIMIM. Do let me know in the comment section how you feel about it as a citizen. Before Modi came to center, BJP remained a completely Hindi heartland party, and they completely neglected the South Indian states. So, whatever atrocities were committed by radical Islamists on the rest of the non Islamic population of India, BJP hardly ever raised a voice about it because BJP focused itself as a Hindi heartland party. And that also led to all this detrimentation. And see, the Dravidian politics, especially starting from Tamil Nadu, comes in, wherein they only fight about Hindi and non-Hindi. But what about the radical Islamic atrocities that were committed on the rest of the Indians? No party in the south raises about it, and BJP was all focused in the north, so BJP also never focused about it, and that is the reason why this kind of things never reach us. They are not there in the textbooks. Movies don't get created on these topics, and we don't even come to know about what atrocities were committed by radical Islamists in India. I'm not mentioning all Muslims. I'm saying many Muslims could be moderate and they are good Muslims, they can be good citizens. But if there are radical fractions in Islam, then they should be called out. And ideally, they should be called out by the Muslims themselves. It would be even better. But if they are not calling it out, then at least we should call it out. Non Muslims should at least call it out because we are at the receiving end of those atrocities. Right? So at least we should be speaking about it. It is free country. At least we should speak about it. So that is about BJP. My grievance was this only, that you remained a Hindi heartland. Now, Modi Sarkar has only given people free voice to talk about the inhuman atrocities by the radical Islamists, but he has also not banned AIMIM party. He has been in the power for 10 years, right? He did not even object to the name of AIMIM. He didn't say anything about this party. Second thing, he did not update the textbooks so as to at least have this word Razakar. At least people will internet search and they'll come to know that, okay, what is Razakar? At least mention the name. At least mention that 40,000 Hindus were killed by some radical Islamist. What is wrong in at least mentioning that this atrocity took place? I don't know what is stopping Modi Sarkar. See, I'm not saying vote for Congress. I'm saying vote for Modi, but also keep check on Modi. And if you really want a completely Hinduwadi party to win, then Ekam Sanatan Bharat is the best choice. Because Ekam Sanatan Bharat, even in their own party constitution also, they had, I think, Sapta Vichar, I don't remember the name that they call, but all those Sapta Siddhanta are all about Hinduism. So they speak about Hinduism and they feel that India can be great if Sanatan is strengthened. So I think Ekam Sanatan Bharat is our best choice. We should be voting for that. And if you don't want to vote for that, then at least vote for BJP. Please do not vote for Congress. Okay, because we have seen Congress doing all kind of Tushtikaran, Muslim appeasement. Modi is hardly any different, but at least we can have a check on Modi, right? Because at least in the last 6 months of his governance, he has to become Hindu. Okay, at least he has to put that Zekund and he has to say Jai Shri Ram. He has to say it at least in the last 6 months in order to win. Because the other community doesn't vote for him. That's the only reason. Okay, and that's why he keeps appeasing the other community for the rest of the 4.5 years of his tenure. But in the last 6 months, he appeases his core vote bank. In entire 4.5 years of his tenure, he appeases the other party, other side of voters. Okay, and he completely neglects his original vote bank. Only in the last 6 months he becomes ultra Hindu, and he keeps catering his original vote bank. But it's okay. Still, he is far better than Congress. If you don't want to vote Ekam Sanatan Bharat, then vote for BJP. Otherwise, Ekam Sanatan Bharat is our best bet. RSS has overshadowed all the other Hindu organizations in India. So today you don't hear about Hindu organizations like Arya Samaj or many other organizations were there. You must have heard about Bajrang Dal. It was the youth wing of Vishwa Hindu Parishad, that is VHP. Now, do you hear about VHP or Bajrang Dal? You don't hear so much. My state, Maharashtra, had Shiv Sena. Now, look at how BJP has broken it down into two parts. It has lost much of its power due to BJP. So, what is BJP? BJP is the political wing of RSS. So, under the table, under the hood, you can say, it is RSS which is pulling the strings. Okay, so RSS is controlling everything, right? Now, this RSS has overshadowed all the other Hindu organizations. So I'm at least expecting RSS to stay Hindu, right? But then this RSS keeps on reaching out to the Muslims. Like we in 2022, we saw Mohan Bhagwat, who is the Sarasanga Chalak of RSS, means the supremo of RSS. He giving statements like "सबका DNA तो एक ही होता है." फिर हर मस्जिद के नीचे शिवलिंग क्यों ढूंढना है? 50 साल के लिए अपने देवी देवताओं को भूल जाओ, प्रगति के लिए देखो सिर्फ. See, when he becomes secular, then we start feeling, see, then why did you overshadow all the other Hindu organizations? We were happy with them. We were happy with Arya Samaj. We were happy with VHP. You overshadowed everybody, and all the Hindus, they started looking up to you as a Hindu organization. And then you start speaking secular. Then you go to masjids, okay, in your bulletproof car and all that Z plus security. Okay, you go there. I don't know which security he has, but I'm just telling you, he went there in a lot of security, reaching out to the Muslims. Then I feel if you were secular anyways, then Congress is also a secular party. What's the difference between Congress and the RSS? Why should I, find myself in RSS lap if Congress is giving me exactly the same thing? At least the economy of Congress is better than RSS or BJP. I only go to BJP because you are Hinduwadi. And then you abandon the Hindu cause altogether. And that's why I say, go for parties like Ekam Sanatan Bharat. We cannot trust BJP RSS entirely. Then most of the atrocities committed by radical Islamists were on SC, ST, and NT categories. Here also, an example I gave you, that Adivasi village where the women were dancing around the pyramid of flowers. Who must they be? They must be from Adivasi Samaj. They must be either from ST, that is scheduled tribe, or NT, that is nomadic tribes. Must be one of the two. I think it must be ST, because they were not nomads. They were. That's why I would say ST. So the atrocities were committed by radical Islamists. I'm not saying Muslims. You cannot say that Muslims and as an entire community is bad, but at least the radical fractions of Muslim community, radical Islamist, they committed atrocities on ST people. Okay, and still we have slogans like Jai Bhim, very famous in India. How is it possible? You let me know whether this slogan seems appropriate or not. You let me know in the comment section. I cannot comment on the video, but you check. I mean, how much truth is there in this slogan? You let me know in the comment section. Enlighten me. I'm a भोला भाला इंसान. मुझे तो कुछ नहीं आता, लेकिन आपको शायद पता हो तो मुझे आप जरूर ज्ञानवर्धन कीजिए मेरा. So that was the entire review. For further reading, you can always go to all these links. This is the review video of Pratik Boradeji, which actually encouraged me to see this movie. A standstill agreement. If you want to know more about it, there's the Wikipedia page. Atrocities about about the atrocities of Razakar. These are the 3 links. If you want to read books on Razakars and Nizam, then these are the links. And then Mohan Bhagwat, that is RSS Sarasanga Chalak, reaching out to Muslims. So see this news article, this news video on YouTube. Okay, and do let me know in the comment section what you feel about BJP, RSS, and I would encourage you to vote for Ekam Sanatan Bharat, because at least vote for the real Hindu party. Okay, but still, do let me know in the comment section what you feel about it. Whether you still want to be with Modi, or you want to vote for Modi and then keep him under check. How will you keep him under check once the elections are over? How will you keep Modi under check? We have seen it for 2 times. I don't know how to do that. Do enlighten me in the comment section how you think it is possible. And finally, you also let me know what you think about this movie, whether you have seen this movie. If you saw this movie, then what were your reviews? Do let me know in the comment section. Until next time, Jai Shri Ram. ये है अमित शिरासाव, अमित शिरासाव, अमित शिरासाव, अमित शिरासाव.